Oh, I say, I've forgotten the hibiscus. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Evening, welcome. I'm not quite with it this evening for some inexplicable reason. Can't even see my own face. Hopefully, I'm going to read some of your text messages in a moment, and we should be live. I'm waiting for my screen just to confirm that it's going to burst into life for a bank holiday weekend. Oh, there we go. Let's have a look, see how it looks. Oh, come on, you're wrong. That'll do. Lovely. Right, welcome, wrongin'. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Welcome to the Sunday Simon. Make sure that you've taken all the spaces up. I know it's a bank holiday weekend, so some people may be holidaying, some people may be otherwise engaged. But if you could, make sure we can get everybody into the body of the Kirk. Budge up at the front, you're wrong. And if there's any spare Battenberg, I would really appreciate some. Just sweet tooth, so they say. Let me get into some of these. Nicholas says, I had a complaint the other day. They said, oh, hey, 10 minutes in and you still haven't started anything. Well, this is a community. It's a community. So I intend to speak with my parishioners and make sure that they're all in order, that the old beardy boy in the clouds is not giving them too much hassle, because obviously cleanliness is next to godliness, and I will have a word with the boss upstairs. If anybody is not feeling too well or struggling with anything, then they can come to the confessional, tell me all, and then I'll sort it out with the big lad upstairs. So I will speak with the parishioners just while everybody is getting their feet under the table, or rather getting their large derriere cheeks into the pews, so to speak. I do believe that I'm having a delivery. So while you're saying anything, the hibiscus has arrived miraculously with much love and care and tenderness. Thank you very much. Just in case you're worried. If any of the parishioners this evening are struggling a little bit, have a word in the confessional, and I'll have a word with the old boy upstairs. Do you know it's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, or the Holy Ghost? Notice how they don't say Holy Ghost anymore. But do you think that, like, God the Father sits in the same chair all the time, God the Father's chair, and he says to God the Son, here, Jesus, go and get Daddy's slippers. They'll strike me down and send me to jail. Nicholas says, people, I know close have lost sight in one eye, all jabberjoyed, Google it. I've no idea what you're talking about, Nicholas. Have you been on the altar wine already without any Battenberg to sort of soak it up? Millie, knowledge is power. Evening, Millie. Welcome. Neil Cunningham. Good evening, everyone. Evening, Neil. Welcome to the body of the Kirk as ever. The sprouts on my Sunday dinner are repeating on me. Anyone who got any Battenberg can make it even worse. Neil. L says there's only one place to start tonight. Correct. Oasis are back. We're going to talk about that. Roy Gordon, good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. Some say Adrian Allen is the only show to watch on YouTube. So, I've stocked up on the Battenberg and await his eminence arrival. Hope you're well, Adrian. Thank you, Roy, for your very kind words. Yeah, I'm not so bad today. Well, it's bank holiday weekend. We're getting an extra day off. Slacker. Stuart says, evening double A, I've got some Battenberg to go with the coffee this evening. Screw the mental images. Battenberg is too good. Correct, Stuart. But it's only the parishioners of this particular body of the Kirk that understand what we're talking about. So we can snigger like 12-year-old schoolboys when everybody else is going, what's this thing with the Battenberg? Tower Block Tracy, evening all. At least we categorically know that Jermaine Jenas isn't a nonce. We do. But what a player. I'm going to talk about that because I have my own unique take on it. Vivian Kenyon arrived for my Sunday sermon. Pews filling up for our Rev. There must be some good news. I'm all ears, as Dumbo once said. As always, beer, banter and Battenberg ready. Viv and Darlaw. Viv, welcome to the body of the Kirk. You're always most welcome. Andrew James, Double A, wants Jason Donovan tickets for Christmas. Andrew, behave. You're wrongin'. Don't get sniffy with me. If you know, you know. Tablock Tracy, Jermaine, all you had to do was ask Ronan Keating for a lend of his phone. Hardly difficult. Correct. Neil Cunningham's back again. Following his release from the BBC, Jermaine Jenas has signed for Chelsea on a 10-year deal. Is that Chelsea Clinton? Tablock Tracy at Neil Cunningham. After those pics he sent, it wasn't his only release. His job, his girlfriend, wife actually, and the contents of his scrotum. Oh, I never. Tablock Tracy, how could you? Andrew James says to Vivian Darlaw, you know that Tocker 69 likes to sit next to the bogs. What did I read somewhere today that they were talking about? I think it was, Manchester United. The new owner is like stripping everything back. Well, he is Scottish, so he's tight. And he's, let me get back to this. I must have. Anyway, so the new owner of Manchester United is like, get rid of 250 staff, and then we're not going to have staff sitting with the players in the players' restaurant. No. They can sit somewhere else, and they've put all the staff next to the bogs. Nice, classy. Alan says, "Oh, come all ye wrong uns, Reverend is in the house." Tocker 69, yes, I love the smell of freshly excreted Battenberg. You utter wrong in Tocker 69. In the field, how do all. And Danny D, how do. Danny, just in case you're a first timer, I think you might be. I always pop everybody's cherry that's a first timer. It's a skill. And we're allowed to. You can't defrock me for it. I mean, I wonder what you would see under me frock. Tablock Tracy in the field. Lovely. And you? Paul Morton. Evening, Paul. Evening, all. Karen Boo UK, mostly mint. Fantastic, Karen. Millie says, good evening, one and all. Good evening, Millie. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Tom Harney's, hello, everyone. Just got back from a little imbibing session. Oh, I say, Tom, was it alter wine or was it alter stronger than that? Or did it alter your full constitution? I'll be in the back of the Kirk tonight. If I fall asleep, can someone give me a little poke, please? So long as Jermaine Jenas is not in the body of the Kirk tonight. Paul Galtieri, good evening. Wrongans, evening, Paulie. Kathy Hartman, good evening, all. Jean Psychic, hello. Hello, Jean. Hello, Kathy. Vix Tex, heart to all out there in the world of aliens, I think. Andrew James, for your information, when Adrian Allen was born, the doctors didn't know what was double A and what was the umbilical cord. According to my mother, I'm so excited I can't even say it. According to my mother, they threw the wrong bit away. Dan Brugger, evening, Dan. Welcome to the body of the Kirk. Paulie Galtieri, enough of Belfield's Battenberg. He ain't getting any yet. Well, he might be getting some, but he's not getting any Battenberg, that's for certain. Jean Psychic, I made fairy cakes and scones today. Oh, Jean, was it fruit or was it cheese? Love a scone, mate. Love a scone. And I can confirm that the Houses of Parliament, they have a little cafe that you can go there. I don't know what it's called, but they do quite marvellous fruit scones. Anyway, enough of that. Oh, hang on. Amalia's in. She's remembered. Amalia, evening all. We'll listen on for a bit whilst starting to declutter overladen and disgusting bookshelves. Oh, I say, what kind of books have you got on your bookshelves for them to be disgusting, Amalia? And I think we'll leave it at that. We'll get into what we're going to talk about tonight. But, the old Bovril's in the body of the Kirk. Good. Shane Robson put mine on the first time. Welcome, Shane. Another first-timer. Super Ted, evening, Adrian, from sunny Redcar. the mighty tower of power that is the Red Beacon, Super Ted. And Rusty Mouse, shall we all shout for aid? Scream if you want to go faster, Rusty Mouse. I think we've got everybody in. Nigel Green, I thought Jermaine Jenas had sent dick pics, but it turns out they were just pictures of Gary Lineker. Same thing, really. Oi, I did that one on X 3 days ago. By the way, if you're on X, go and follow me, at Adrian Allen, because most of the gags, most of the stuff, have been very active. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of posts over the last few days. So if you are on X, I would appreciate it if you would follow me so that you can get things a little more quickly. I mean, speed is not everything. I'm built for comfort, not for speed. Anyway, next live is this coming Wednesday, 28th of August. 28th of August. I mean, we're nearly into September, man. Another, 3 and a bit months. We go into what traditionally is known in telly and radio as Q4. That traditionally is when radio stations and TV stations get the most views, get the most listeners. So we're going into Q4 in the middle of September. We do have the 2nd anniversary of the Theatre of the Mind coming up. And we are... I'm not saying anything. I'm just the channel was kind of created on, I think it was the 3rd of September 2022, which is a 9-day. But the first ever, hang on, Paulie Gallieri. Is Katie Hopkins rehoming Belfield? She talks like he's out already. Yeah, he's out. Out. He confessed being out to try and get his sentence reduced, remember? Ooh, I'm part of the LGBTQ. So he's definitely out. According to Ria O'Dell, I'm booked on a trip to Westminster in December. I'm hoping to try the scotch and or tea the MPs get, as it's apparently better than the stuff in the gift shop. Oh, I'm sure it is. Which bit are you going to? Are you going to the Big Ben tour? Are you going... what do they call it? The Democratic tour, where you can get free tickets from your MP and go and have a look around the Lords and Parliament? Or are you going to, as we did the other day, are you going to see... Oh, no, it won't be in December. I think it's only in recess. So, pray tell, Ria, what tour are you going on? Because they're all marvellous, spiffing, wonderful and marvellous. Gene Psychic, Alex is out. No, he's bloody not. And as I said the other day, so somebody had to go at me. It's really easy to work out. He was jailed on the 15th of September. He gets out on the 15th of June. And no, they're not letting him out early. And other people can kind of give you or insinuate that he's out. We know he's out. He wasn't before the trial. Teflon Guan, HMS Belfast, Thames Cruise. Very nice. Tower Block Tracy, hang on a second. I need to take this message. I would normally not talk about my personal life, but I am deeply upset tonight. I have broken up with my Japanese girlfriend. I had to drop the bomb twice before she got the message. You can say that, Tower Block Tracy, but I can't possibly comment. It's far too funny. So anyway, next live, Wednesday 28th. Technically, the first video that we uploaded on the channel was on September 21st. So I think that, is it a Saturday this year? So around about the 21st of September is the 2nd anniversary. We may do various bits and pieces. I'm not going to tell you we're doing this. If they don't happen, I am hoping something very special is going to happen. Very special. It looks like we have the licenses and everything. So... hold on to your hats. It's going to get lively, mind you. I want to say thank you to the legendary Battenbergers, as we do at all the lives. Thank you to Millie, the legendary Battenberger. Thank you for your generosity, Millie. And thank you, Rich. Really appreciate your continued support. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start with, because when I ended Wednesday's live, I felt I was a little bit too hard on you. Don't make your own monkey gags up. We've already got Amalia dealing with her disgusting bookshelves. But I just felt that I didn't mean to go and be, how can I say this? There's lots of things going on in the world. Don't always bring them here, primarily because there's only so much that I believe the body of the Kirk can take. It is a church, a Kirk, mind you, Church of England. They'll probably have us rename it into House of Battenberg. Can you imagine? We're having to drop the body of the Kirk. It would have to become the House of Battenberg. I don't know. It's got a certain ring to it. If you're on my wavelength, you got the gag. It's got a certain ring to it. Anyway, I know Tablock Tracy will be laughing her head off. Rhea Odell says, not sure. Better half booked tickets and won't tell me. Oh, Rhea, fantastic. I mean, whichever tour you do at the Houses of Parliament or Westminster, it's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. So I think it was a bit near the end. And some people are saying, oh, will you get on with it? No. Will you foxtrot Oscar? I can do whatever I want. What are you, the government? What are you, Keir Starmer? Hey, you can't say that. You can't do that. We'll send you to jail. Aye, right, mate. Foxtrot Oscar. Some of my friends. Mackham's top of the championship table. Yee-haw, says Laura Sands. Pop your cherry, Laura. Yes, they are. They played very well yesterday. So tonight what I want to do is I just want to... I'm probably going to do just over an hour because I need to be up very early in the morning for stuff. And so we'll see where we go tonight. And I want to sort of intersperse it with some things a bit more light-hearted. But we are, you know me, I don't hold back. You can't handle the truth. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to nail Keir Starmer. Metaphorically, of course. How very dare you? So I'm going to ask you, because I nearly spilt it. I was thinking about, and have been thinking about, for some inexplicable reason, John Lennon a lot this week. And we'll throw some music in, and I want a bit of interaction in the comment, because it's more difficult a question than you realise. So we're going to start with a question. We're going to start with a musical question, and the musical question is simply this: Chesney Hawkes, remember him? I am the one and only. It should renamed it. Just I am my one and only hit wonder. So Chesney Hawkes says best song ever written. Now I'm not talking about intro. I'm not talking about like guitar solo. I'm not talking about singers or anything. What is the best song ever written? And he reckons it's Imagine by John Lennon. So I was thinking, ooh. And I can't disagree with that. I can't. It's a thing of such outstanding natural beauty that, I mean, is there anything better? Is there a better song written? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me your favourite song. It has to be the best song written. It's not intro, guitar, singer or anything. Not composite parts. The best song ever written. Philippa Fraser says sent Elmo's Fire. And I interviewed John Parr, Philippa. Do you want me to tell you that story? Because I think he was more traumatised by it than me. Because... can you remember when John Parr did the duet with Meatloaf? Was it Mercenaries of Fortune or something? Oh, Paulie Galtieri, Pink Floyd, The Wall. Interesting. In the Field. Oi, you can stop that. In the Field. Bucks Fizz, The Camera Never Lies. Tower Block Tracy, Black Dog, The Zepp. Oh, yeah. Super Ted, Living Years, Mike and the Mechanics. Very good. The Bovril, Days by the Kinks. Ooh, Shane Robson. Do we get better than Bohemian Rhapsody? Is Bohemian Rhapsody a better song written than Imagine? We've got Oliver's Army is Here to Stay by Fern. Des Ashton, Jerusalem. Oh, hairs on the back of your neck, Des. The Birdie song, Lord Jim Dandy. I might take that one back just for being Bro D. Two Tribes. Interesting. Yeah. Boys of Summer, Don Henley, says Jules D. Martin Sullivan, Bucks Fizz, Heart of Stone, Behave Martin. And Leah, in the Paris Olympics, there were a few quarrelling athletes. The DJ played Imagine and they soon let go of their argument. Oh, I say. Up the Junction, Squeeze, Beautiful poetry. Beautiful poetry. Thank you, Paul. American Pie, English bottle cap. Is that better than Imagine? Hey Jude, Kathy Harper. Good shout. Stevie Wonder, Sir Duke, musical brilliance in the field. Agreed. Agreed. Anything that Stevie does. Forever Young, Bob Dylan. Interesting, Tom. Gene Psychic. It's not been written yet. So, Chesney Hawkes reckons Imagine. Best song ever written. Do we agree with that or not? I am going to go back to the John Parr story with Meatloaf. I love John Lennon, but Imagine isn't even in my top 10 Lennon tunes. Ooh, Leeds. What would be a top 10 Lennon tunes? Chris Mundy. Oi, oi, Adrian. Oi, oi, Chris. Steve Conlon. Nights in White Satin, the Moody Blues. Now, there was a song. Nice shout, Steve. Bad Wolf Project. Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone. Good one. Martin Sullivan. Let's All Chant. Pat and Mick. Martin, the original by Let's All Chant. Michael Zager Band was a thing. Was a thing in the late 70s. It was up there for discos and stuff. Saltwater, Julian Lennon. Nice one, Margo. Andy Turner, hit that rhythm stick. No, hit me with your rhythm stick. And Ian Jury is one of my heroes. His poetry, it was just sublime. Sublime. Nick B, I'm not having the Teletubbies, you're wrong. Who else? I like Imagine, says Gene Psychic, but imagine what more he could have written had he lived. I know. Chris Mundy, Glenn Campbell, Wichita lineman. Good song. Anyway, so we'll have those. We'll have all your votes because I might do a little video on those. Leads. Mind Games, Mother. Oh, what a tune. God, Woman, Jealous Guy, Working Class Hero, Out the Blue. There's loads. I agree, Leeds. I agree. With the Beatles and without the Beatles. And I think, isn't it, let's have a think, Phil Collins, Paul McCartney, and was it Freddie? There's only 3 artists ever to have sold 100 million albums with a group and then 100 million albums as a solo artist. And I think there's only 3 artists, McCartney, Phil Collins, and I can't remember who the third is. 7 Tears, Gumbay Dance Band, Neil Cunningham. I'll get the bouncers to chuck you out the body of the Kirk in a minute, you're wrong. Des Ashton, Brothers in Arms. Yeah, good shout. Drink Up Thy Side of the Wurzels, Teflon Guan. Interesting, David Gill. Genesis, Land of Confusion. Good song. I interviewed... I went... do I tell you about my Mike Rutherford interview? I went all the way from Preston at Rock FM, went down to London to interview him. Super, super, super nice guy. But let me tell you about John Parr and Meatloaf. They did this... So John Parr, super, super, super nice guy. One of the loveliest people I've ever interviewed. He was engaged. He was just giving me all the stuff that I needed and was very interesting. But I'd gone into the room at Tyne Tees Television to interview him, and literally I was as white as a ghost. I was laughing, but I was still white as a ghost. And he said to me, "Are you okay? Are you feeling okay?" I said, "I've just nearly had a fight with Meatloaf." And he said, "What?" So I recanted this story, which I'm about to tell you, about me and Meatloaf nearly getting into a fight at Tyne Tees Television. I mean, how we didn't fight, I'll never know in a month of Sunday. So anyway, you prep for your interview. This is back in the mid-'80s. And the record company had got in touch with the radio station, said, one of your chaps want to come and interview Meatloaf and John Parr. They're doing a Tyne Tees telly show with Lisa Stansfield, of all people. And she was a presenter then for Tyne Tees. And does someone want to come up and interview? And somebody said to me, "Here, do you want to go up and interview Meatloaf? He's more your style." Meatloaf and a guy called John Parr, St. Elmo's Fire, John Parr. Do you want to go in? Yeah, I'll go. So go up there. You kind of prep your interview. You make sure you've got enough to make it sound interesting. You obviously do your research to make sure that the artist knows that you know a bit about them, out of modern courtesy. I was just guided into this room, and Meatloaf was sweating profusely. I mean, so profusely. It was like not beads of water. It was somebody had turned a tap on and there was loads of bits of water coming out. He was absolutely wringing wet for a fat lad. He was a big, big, big old unit. So I walked in thinking, oh, what's he on? This is not good. I mean, he self-admitted that he had his demons and he had his struggles with things. So I walked into this room, and as I say, he was soaking. He'd just gone and done a straight run through of this rock and roll mercenaries, whatever it was called. And I went, oh, Mr. Meatloaf, happy to meet you. Grunt. I thought, oh, this is going to be difficult. So we get in there, and I was just asking him stuff, and I was being gentle with him and just giving him really easy stuff for him to back. And I thought, let's just chuck a curveball in just to see how he goes. The interview, I only had 15 minutes with him. So we're 5 minutes in, and I just said to him, Mr. Meatloaf. Obviously, I didn't call him that. I didn't call him his real name either. And I just said, would you ever like your daughters to get into rock and roll and make music? A nuclear bomb went off. I was like, hang on, I only asked you about your daughter. I said to him, hang on a second, I only asked you about your daughter. I was just being courteous, just trying to get a different answer out of you. I was like, oh dear, don't start that, man. You're in the northeast of England. And I was like, oh yeah. So I switched the recorder off, I put that down, and I stood up, and I thought, let's get it on, Bonnie lad. If you fancy it, let's get it on. And the record company person outside must have thought, hang on, what's going on with these two in there? Opened the door while Meatloaf was about to grab me by the throat, and I was about to chin him. Chaps, right, Adrian, if you want to come this way, I'll guide you to John Parr. I mean, he didn't let up as I was walking out. I was like, oh yeah, mate, man, up yours. Didn't let up. And the record company guy went, I think he's a bit sensitive today. I said, what's he on? Oh, well, that's another story. Marco Zero, you still got the recording? I think so, somewhere in my archive. Somewhere, but it's on 1/4-inch tape. And, this is, blimey, nearly 40 years on. And 1/4-inch tape sticks together, and it oxidizes, so bits of the tape stick to the back of all the bits of tape. If I can find it, I will archive it and put it on here, because it was just, I came out thinking, Jesus, he was going to chin me there. Jesus, he was going to grab me by the throat, because he had me by ear. And I just thought, I've been worse. I'm northeast of England, man. But this is back in the 80s where, there's some professional courtesy. So I literally came out with a record company guy, and the record company guy then knocked on the door and said to John Parr, Mr. Parr, your interview's here. And I walked in, as I say at the beginning of this, white as a sheet, just thinking in my head, oh, I should have just broke his nose. That would have been a story. That would have been all over the papers. And that's, are you all right? Everything okay? So I recanted this story to John Parr, who I'm sure will testify for it. Oh, hang on, Terry Wookfit. Here's a bit of insight. You don't suppose it was because his adopted daughter Pearl was going through a difficult phase at the time? Maybe Family Question was poorly researched. I didn't know that she was having a difficult time. He was having a more difficult time. I don't know what he was on. He liked his, even though his estate's worth quite a bit. So I'm not going to go any further than that. But so John Parr. So I recanted this story, and John Parr just looked at me as if to say, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it." But it kind of, the song didn't really take off, which is why maybe they were wanting local radio people to go and interview them. If I can find it, I'm not sure where. I've moved house loads of times. If I can find it, I'll just put it on here. Talking of which, right, it's 1 for yes, 2 for no. This is a genuine question before we get into some of the deeper stuff. 1 for yes, 2 for no. I have, while I was at the BBC, I did a ghost hunt on the BBC. Notice how I had to enunciate my words. And some of it's fabulous. And I have the full recording of the ghost hunt from the BBC. Should I put it up here for you to listen to on Halloween, October 31st? Is that something that you would like to listen to? 1 for yes, 2 for no. There was all blimey. We've got 1, 3, 7, 4, 26. I think Martin's been on the cooking sherry tonight. Is that something that you would want to listen to? Tablock Tracy's a bit worried that it might put the willies up her. So, oh right, okay. So it was. Let me give you some background. Looks like a lot of people are keen for it. I'll give you some background. It was in a disused mine in the northeast, and we went there, and there was all kinds of stuff. I won't say. Amalia, it was 1 for yes, 2 for no. I've got a 3-hour recording of a ghost hunt with table tipping and psychics, and we were out in the mine. It was live. It was a live radio show from the mine, a disused mine in the northeast, and there was lots of stuff going on, lots of stuff, and we had ghost stories, and we had all kinds of bits and pieces. But if that's Kerry Hawkins, are you a believer? There you go, Kerry. Am I a believer in? Tell me what, Kerry. Is it ghosts or is it spirit? Is it what's the question that you're asking? Was it the F pit, Des Ashton? Table tipping sounds filthy. Yeah, it was one of those parties, Andrew. Terry Wookfit, Talbot Tracy. Daft question about your ex, the Japanese one. Japanese don't do carpets, so what did you munch? Is it tatami mat? Where was it? Kerry. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Washington F Troop. Yeah, I remember F Troop, not F Pit. So, do I believe in ghosts? I've not really. I mean, I interviewed. Oh, what was the old boy from the Scouser that was always on the ghost hunt programs? Derek Akora. So I interviewed Derek Akora on the radio, and it was the afterlife. Also, they never really leave us. Interesting. Let me just write that down, Kerry, because I want to tell you this Derek Akora story. Spirit. So, Derek Akora was a really lovely guy. He said, "Oh, Adrian, have me home telephone number. You call me anytime." I'm like, "Am I going to come into millions, Derek?" And Jackie Budden, Jackie. Evening, Adrian and Co. Derek Akora, met him a few times. He gave me very accurate readings. Really, Gene? He didn't me. So, and again, it was on the BBC. He was delightful, but he didn't kind of give me any suggestions that he knew what he was talking about. I mean, the thing that, and without, besmirching Derek's name, I always wondered why, all the spirits that he brought through and all the ghosts that he was in contact, how they always had a Scouse accent. So do I, Kerry asked, do I believe in the afterlife or spirit? It's not a belief as such, but I do. Look, if I said to you, we are a fractal of the ineffable experiencing itself as consciousness, would that kind of go over the top of your head? Do I believe in the afterlife? Gene Psychic says, he got my grandmother's exact name, told me about a cat I would get, and told me my now recent door number. Gene, Jackie Budden says, I saw him a couple of times doing his theatre shows before one of the shows started. He was outside schmoozing the crowd, queuing up, which could have been him baiting for information for later. Interesting, Jackie. Very interesting. Because he would, what was that? The psychic Sally, she was in the paper yesterday saying, talking about a breakup. What about Druids? Don't really know much about the Druids, Dan Brugger. Sally Morgan, thank you, Jackie. Paulie Galtieri, I'm getting the word nonce for Prince Andrew, obviously. I love Clinton Baptiste. I love Clinton Baptiste. And it's interesting that you say that, because Paulie. No, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Kerry says, I saw Sally. She was terrible. Well, didn't she have an earpiece in? So why would she have an earpiece in when she should be listening to... and I know that, psychics have... they can do psychometry. They can do readings from inanimate objects. So I've been to a dear friend of mine, Beryl Quinn Lawrence from Southport. Met her... Oh, do you want to know? I've prepared loads of stuff. Do you want to know this story about meeting a psychic who called me out? So, it's in me past. What the hell? So, I was working for Rock FM in Preston as a presenter, and it was in a relationship with situationship with someone. And she went to this woman, and this woman would record her readings. This psychic woman, who could do psychometry, automatic writing, predictional readings, spirit readings. I mean, Beryl Quinn Lawrence in Southport is the real deal. In my view, one of the best psychics in the world ever. And she did a reading for this situationship girl that I was seeing. And she said to her, Are you in a relationship with someone? And, there's... are they in a relationship? Is it kind of like love triangle? And this girl was like, no. That was exactly right. So I heard this woman talking on this tape for the girl that I was seeing, and she said, "You're in a relationship, aren't you?" So I fessed up, and so we talked about it, and I said to her, because she also said, is this man a DJ? Is this man a radio presenter? And this girl that I was seeing hadn't told her a word, not a word. She didn't know it was me. And she came out with all this other stuff about me. And I said to her, you told her that stuff, didn't you? She said, no. She said, I was just sitting there and she came out with all this stuff. I don't know where she got it from, how she got it, because I didn't even mention you. I was going to see about me. And I said, right, okay. So I gave this Beryl Quinn Lawrence a call. Hi, Beryl. Could I have a reading, please? And this must have been just after New Year, 1996. And I went for this reading. The reading lasted 3 hours. The stuff that was coming out of her, Carlos, one of the best psychics in the equivalent is the equivalent of tallest dwarf. Utter nonsense. Read about cold reading. Don't have to, Carlos. I didn't tell her a word. Not a word. How would she know who I was? She just knew my name and my mobile number, because obviously I rang her. But the stuff that she was coming out with was insane. She was coming out with dates, names, places, everything. told me what I did for a living, tell me what I was going to do, where I was going to do it. And in fact, there was one very famous story in the reading. She said to me, now remember, I was working for Rock FM in Preston. I wasn't in London, I was in Preston. And she said to me, you're going for a new job in London. She said, I can see you. I can see you near Marble Arch. Why will I see you near? In fact, I can see you near a map, an underground map, near Marble Arch. And I said, right. Now, this is 18 months ahead of time. And she said, look, somebody's going to come up to you and they're going to offer you a reading. Whatever they do, accept the reading. Whatever they ask for, give them, because they've got some information that you need to hear. So I was just like, oh, right, okay. So anyway, about 6 months later, forgotten all about the reading. 6 months later, I get a job working for Liberty 963, an AM station in London. It was originally Viva 963, which was a female-only radio station, and it didn't work because females didn't like listening to it. And it became Liberty 963. Mohammed Al-Fayed bought it. I was brought in as a kind of troubleshooter, as part of the management team to make it work. And originally we were housed with Jazz FM just off the Edgware Road in London. And if you know anything about London, Marble Arch is at the bottom of the Edgware Road. So one day I said to people in the station, I'm just going to go for a walk. I just need to clear my head, get some fresh air, and I'm just going to go and grab a bite of lunch. So I come out of the station, almost hang a left down Edgware Road, get to the bottom, and there's Marble Arch. So I thought, I'll probably need a shortcut. Where am I going to go? I'll have a look on the tube map. And literally I was standing there in front of the tube map I'm a northerner. What would I know about the tube? Trying to work out where I was going to go. I'll come to you in a second, Carlos. I kind of get what you're saying, honestly. But I need to finish this story off for you. So I'm standing there in front of tube station, northerner, trying to work his way around London, just experiencing a bit of London. I hadn't been in London that long. I'd left Rock FM to come down to Liberty 963. So I turn around and think, holy Jesus, that Beryl Quinn Lawrence in Southport said to me, she saw me standing looking at a tube map near Marble Arch, and I was looking at Marble Arch. I was like, oh, right, okay. Well, I'll just go for a walk down towards Oxford Circus. As I'm just minding my own business, walking down, it's always busy in London, this woman appears from nowhere, and she says, I'll read your eyes. I'll read your eyes. Just give me £5 and I'll read your eyes. And I was like, oh, hang on a second. I was going to buy a bite of lunch. I've only got a £5 on me. I don't know where the ATM is. And I just said to her, oh, no, it's all right. And literally in a millisecond, I remembered again what Beryl Quinn Lawrence had said to me. Oh, you're going to be approached. Someone's going to approach you. They've got a message for you. Whatever they ask for, that £5 that I was going to buy lunch with, give it to them, because they need to tell you this message. And as I remembered this, I turned around to kind of go, no. Come back. You can read my eyes. She disappeared into thin air. Couldn't find her. I spent 10, 15 minutes trying to find her. Couldn't. So explain to me how a complete stranger would say to me, I think it was about 18 months ahead of time, that I was going to be with Marble Arch in sight at the bottom of the Edgware Road at a tube map, and she specifically told me, tube map, Marble Arch, and somebody was going to approach me with something that I needed to know, and whatever they asked for, the £5 in my pocket, give it to them. Now, do I believe? I'm a little skeptical, yes. Do I believe in ghosts? No, I just believe that's just energy, but not kind of the ghosts that we see on telly and in films. I see dead people. But I don't know how Beryl was able to give me that message. And there was lots of other stuff that in our friendship of, cool, blimey, a long time, how she could know these things when I know what feeding a psychic is all about, or a medium, whatever you want to call them. I know what feeding is, and I don't say anything. I just sit there. Now, bizarrely, David Hume. Sorry, Carlos, not quite sure what that means. You'll have to help me. One Peter Pope. Link in chat in 55 minutes. Wait your turn. He has a lot to say. Tell you what fit. So Randy, I believe, was a fake. I mean, he was a magician, but he was a fake. He wasn't a psychic. And I know that there was the James Randi $1 million challenge, where he set down some stringent tests because he believed that psychics were fakes. They actually weren't psychic. But I fill you in. No, that Derek Akora guy was a car mechanic. How much are psychics paid to make you leave a profession where you can print money? Yeah. Dale Steele, Paul McKenna seemed pretty legit. He's a stage hypnotist rather than a psychic. So explain to me, if you can, how another human being, because they do, my take on it, as Kerry asked earlier, my take on it is the single point theory or single point field, where all knowledge, past, present, and future, is held in a specific place within the universe. It's called the single point theory or single point field, where we are merely living a predetermined life. And it's this and how can they know? You tell me, how can they know? Now, there are showmen, Derek Akora. There are hypnotists who are not psychic, Paul McKenna. There's Sally Morgan, who gets found out with an earpiece. If they're true and from stage, they don't need an earpiece for whatever reason. Who was the really old psychic who made fame really late on in her life? Oh, I always quote her as well. Des Ashton in the Akashic field. Yes, but I think the scientists call it single point theory. Doris Stokes, thank you, Martin. So Doris Stokes was unnervingly accurate, but she didn't really get that much of a go at fame and or notoriety, if you wish. But how can a human being see somebody else's future and tell them? Dan Brooker says, because I come from a family of spiritualists, I kind of agree that weird stuff can happen and can be seen. So let's kind of circle back to the very beginning. This ghost thing, this ghost program that we did on the BBC, I'm very proud of. But did they prove to me that ghosts exist? Not sure, Mr. Motivator. Kerry Hawkins, you can. It's like we get told and we see it. Teflon Guan, Adrian, do you believe in life numbers? Not sure what you mean by that, Teflon. I believe in sacred geometry, and I believe in numerology in certain instances, because have you never had one of those moments where you've either dreamt something and it came true, or you meet someone and you kind of, I have a dear friend that was at, that I've known a long time. And he said to me, come over to, and this was on the Brompton Road, come over to the radio station, we'll go out for a bite to eat. So I was like, oh, okay. Went in, he gave me the 50p tour of the radio station. And there was a girl in the record library. And we kind of met. And it was almost as if we'd met before. And we stood for 5 minutes or so saying, where have we met? Do you know these people? Is it in radio? Is it in showbiz? Is it in... And we'd never met. But we were both independently absolutely sure that we had met before. And that it was a feeling. It wasn't necessarily something tangible that had happened. It was just about, does it really, is it, I mean, and there was this, it was almost as if there were emotions and feelings between the two of us. I mean, I was single at the time, and I said to my mate, I said, is she single? Yeah. So I thought, we'll have a dance then. But it just never happened, because it just never happened for some inexplicable reason. But that moment of meeting where we kind of looked at each other as if to go, it was like, you know, when you meet up with an ex and it's either utter horror or a real heartfelt sort of connection. And it was that. It was the connection. I mean, Dan Brooker says, we are more than we know. And Rhea O'Dell says, maybe you knew her in a past life. Maybe, Rhea. There is something that I've always wanted to do in that gnosis, Dan Brooker. Brilliant. Knowledge. I want to do past life regression. But, I mean, is it a thing? Is it like somebody... I've been to psychotherapists to help me with my my vertigo, because I get really, really bad vertigo. And God is in his holy temple. Correct, Leeds? Correct. You're getting it now. E equals MC squared 666. Exactly that. 33, 69, 96. 9 is the magic number. 9 is the number of perfection. 9 is the number of the universe. 7 is the body of man. So if you, just as a little aside, if you look at wedding vows in a Christian faith, there's 7 of them. To have and to hold, all that malarkey, it's 7. In Judaism, the female circles anti-clockwise the male 7 times. 7 is the body of man. 3 is seen as brilliant. Terry Wookfit, nothing wrong with vertigo. Decent song by U2. Yeah, it is. But I had to go to a hypnotherapist, Harley Street hypnotherapist, and I mean, God, we've gone down a rabbit hole tonight, and I literally didn't prepare for this. This is all off the top of my head. So I went and talked about my vertigo. Now, as a little lad at 4-year-old, so my vertigo isn't actually vertigo. My vertigo, according to this Harley Street specialist, who's a Facebook friend and is insanely talented, exactly that. 777 equals 666. Which school did you go to? If you do 3 sevens, it's 21. 3. 666, 18. 9. So what she worked out by under hypnosis, she worked out that it went back to when I was 4-year-old. We had a conservatory on the house, and at 4-year-old, I believed I was Spider-Man. So I got up onto this conservatory. There was nobody else in the house. My dad was away at sea. My mum was next door, and I got onto this conservatory, and I believed I was Spider-Man. So I jumped on the conservatory, and the conservatory gave way, and I went through the glass. And as I went through the glass, I have a scar here. I have a really big scar here. It's obviously faded with years, but the blood was spurting everywhere, and I was covered in it, and I ran next door because obviously I was a bit shit. I've damaged the conservatory. 4-year-old, I knew what was going on. My mum saw it, got me to hospital, and I was blue lighted to the eye hospital in Sunderland, And there, she had to hand me over to a nurse and a doctor who had to prep me for theatre immediately because they thought I was going to lose my eye. So my mum handed me over, and literally I screamed the place down. I was all arms and legs, and I was thrashing away and screaming the place down. And all they wanted to do was sort of save my eye, get me into theatre, get it all sorted. And my mum disappeared. I couldn't see my mum. So I'm hyper. I've got blood everywhere. It's spurting everywhere. And these two strangers are trying to grab me. So obviously they get me at the theatre, saved my eye, stitched me up. I was in hospital for a couple of weeks. But so this Harley Street psychotherapist worked out somehow by regressing me back into that moment that I don't have a fear of vertigo, I have a fear of abandonment. My mum abandoning me. I thought my mum had abandoned me. So what she did was she somehow got me to fast forward to me sitting in a hospital bed and seeing the doctor standing next to me and pulling off the thing and showing my eye and explaining to my mum what was going on. And then putting it back up, and my mum was all beautiful and standing at the bottom of the bed and smiling. My vertigo virtually disappeared. I mean, there's still work to do, but it was evident from that moment and that story that it's not vertigo, it's my fear of abandonment. Inner child work. So there's this subconscious stuff that we're not aware of. I don't know. Dan Brooker was thinking of my mum today. Terry Walkford, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, four, which is the beginning of uno, dos, tres, cuatro. It's the father of hip hop. And I can see him. Anyway, so I don't know. There are things that we experiencing the human condition don't understand. We're not meant to understand. We are merely here to experience emotion. And it's how we experience those emotions and how we respond to those emotions that the ineffable can experience consciousness, can experience the human form. Because do I buy into religion? No, none of it. It's bullshit. None of it. The kiddie fiddlers in Rome, hard away and shite, man. Look, Foxtrot Oscar. So I think that your path, your experience, your life experience, your life is unique to you, and it's unique to you because of the choices that you make and what you're meant to learn about yourself, because then you can go back. So I don't know what we go back to. I don't know. Is there an afterlife? I'm unsure. There are some religions, some mass thinking that says, Paul Cherry says, and I can pop a cherry, Paul, there is more to reality, like a current that runs through existence and outside of it, but we can only comprehend a small fraction of it, in part due to our own evolutionary development. I agree, Paul, but we can only experience what we're experiencing through the five senses. And there is sight, sound, taste, smell, but there's much more. As I said a little while ago, have you never had a dream that turns out to be true? I don't know, week, 2 months, 6 months later. As Gene Psychic says, it's all energy. But how can we... So we are meant to experience things the way we are meant to experience things in this form of consciousness. And I mean, I don't know whether you read about it. There's like something hurtling through the universe at 1 million miles an hour. Or is it 1 million miles per second? So it's, I don't know whether, so let's kind of juxtapose it with what's going on at the moment. So your instinct, and that's in essence what it is, your instinct guides you. So you know when something doesn't feel right. You know when something shouldn't be happening. You don't know why, you just do. And sometimes it's talking about the gut biome. You seemingly have two brains, one up here, one down there, which is why, some people are permanently hungry. So that your intuition is meant to guide you and keep you safe. Your subconscious. Now, your subconscious doesn't operate through the five senses. If you think it, the subconscious believes it to be true. So, and we're going off on a real tangent here, but the human condition has safety mechanisms within that condition. One is the intuition. So I don't know whether Hayden's saying, breaking, President Zelensky has announced Ukrainian forces have advanced up to 3 kilometers in Russia's Kursk region, taking control of 2 more settlements. Brilliant. So now we've got NATO fighting Russia. Brilliant. That's what NATO wanted. They want World War III. Well, certainly America wants World War III because they're $35 trillion in debt. And they've got Kamala Harris standing for president. Oh, dear Lord. And there'll be... How do you know a person that you meet is going to play a major part in your life, whether it be a partner, husband or wife, or how do you know? You don't. And you can't choose who you love. You just love. So to contact the Rev, you can email the show. Thank you, moderator. And the Turin Shroud, according to Dan Brooker, this week it's been proven to be the Shroud of the Christ. Now, he was originally Jesus the Nazarene. He's not Jesus the Christ. He only became Jesus the Christ when he arose from his tomb. So he's Jesus the Nazarene. So do I believe in the afterlife? Not sure. I'm not sure in reincarnation. But we'll see when the Dalai Lama pops it. Do I believe in spirit? I think there are forces afoot that we have no comprehension of, that we have no ability to control. The Key of Solomon, if you understand that. Vix text, life is a crapshoot. I get it. I mean, Dale Steele, have you heard of the Mandela effect? That is a very interesting subject and ties into what you're talking about. I have. I can't remember too much about it, but yes, I have. Angels walk amongst us, says Kerry. Interesting, Kerry. I mean, I believe that things resonate, crystals and stuff. I've seen too many things and experienced too many things for me to be a complete and utter skeptic. I mean, I'm a cantankerous old tart at times, but there's things that I don't understand. Not from a place of ignorance, because I'm always open to things, but just from, Gene Psychic says, we've lost a lot of our basic instinct, and they have kept and destroyed a lot of knowledge from us. I know. I mean, if you look at Göbekli Tepe, if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, which I've already discussed on other lives, it's all because you have. I'll liken it to politics, because that's very in vogue at the moment, considering they're in recess. You have two different types of political party. But there are those in the shadows that are giving us two political parties, so we have the illusion of choice. So we choose one of them, and every time we choose them, it's because the last lot was shite. But actually, it's the whole system that we need to deal with, not the political parties. So, I keep saying that word, but it's been very interesting tonight, Kerry. I'm so pleased that you asked the question, because we've never discussed this ever on any of the lives. Some of the stories that I've told you tonight I've never told before. Brilliant. In the field, my spirit is in a bubble, keeps me on the level. So I'm not sure about... I'm interested in religion because they're all the same, but they're all different. And there's the Baha'i faith that I went to their gardens, the Baha'i gardens, near Accra or Acre in Israel. And the gardens are beautiful. And this faith believes that there are many paths of truth to one God, so that they're able to live in harmony with all of the other faiths in Israel, whether it be Muslim or Christian or Judaism. They live with all of the faiths because they believe there are many roads to one truth. Now, you don't get that from specific religions. They go, no, we're the best, we're the best, we're the best. Choose us, we're the best. Oh, by the way, give us some money. What? I'm going to ask you a question. Why does God, if there is such a thing, why does God need money? He created the universe. He created everything. If you believe he is the creator, why would he need money? Lottie says, ghost stories and things that people experience are always fascinating to me. The fullness, spiritual stories give you love, peace. Love and peace, everyone. So whether we go down the consciousness route to remote viewing, the CIA had remote viewers in America who could look at Russian stuff and still be in America. One very famous remote viewer could see Jupiter and Mars and describe stuff on Mars. Lead says, God is a concept by which we measure our pain. I'll say it again. Interesting. Very interesting take. God is a concept by which we measure our pain. Wonderful. Deeply profound, Leads. Yeah, and why do mediums why do mediums charge? I mean, why isn't there a newspaper headline? Medium wins lottery. Or psychic wins lottery, whichever one you want to go for. And Hayden said, and I agree with you, Hayden, there are so-called mediums that prey on people who want some sort of closure after a loved one has died. I agree with you. I mean, I've had people try to give me psychic readings and they were a bit pants, which is why Beryl Cohen Lawrence in Southport was so beautifully magnificent, because she was just innately accurate about everything ever. But there were other people who were kind of this, that, and the other, and it was like, no. Leads, it's a John Lennon song called God, the Dream is Over. Pennine counties, everybody is welcome at the Eternal Father's table. Is there such a thing as a father? Because God is sexless. That's why when you've got human beings deciding what is what and what goes into a canon of a particular book. I mean, there used to be 80 books in the Bible. There's now only 66. Why is that? Paul Cherry says, I do agree in part. There is two very interesting branches of philosophy. Ontology, the study of reality, and honestly, Paul, big words. The study of knowledge. How do we know what we know, and do we know accurately? Well, there is the philosophy that we know what we know, but we know what we don't know, but we don't know what we don't know. And it's that we don't know what we don't know that really Toxic69 says, I asked AA how God decided how much of the collection plate he can keep. He said, throw all the money in the air. What God catches, he keeps. Exactly. Why does God need money? He don't. He's the creator of the universe, most of which we have no comprehension of. So it's, as Nietzsche says, God is dead. He remained dead and we have killed him. Rhea, beautiful. Donald Rumsfeld. Yeah, the trillions of dollars that went just before 9/11. Lottie Martin, newspapers used to be very much more than now. They investigated psychics. Some were frauds. Hang on. Some were frauds. Some seemed true. Newspapers and journalists used to love these opposite ideas. The two idea used to be okay. So we'll go back to the very first question. I don't even know how long I've been going now. Blimey. We'll go back to the very first question that Kerry asked. Do I believe in the afterlife? Unsure. Do I believe in spirit? Yeah. There's stuff I can't explain, even with my limited intellect and life experience. There's stuff I can't explain. And it's created a very, very interesting live tonight. And I appreciate that. I think what I'm going to do is we'll do a couple of more things, and then all of the research that I've done we'll have to put into separate videos. I wanted to talk about two things. One, so maybe this is a same subject, different night, different angle, different research. Kerry Hawkins says, have you noticed the most tormented people in life have been made that way by people who should have loved them? Beautiful, Kerry. That's an insight and a half. Bovril, your conscious side cannot comprehend it all, but your subconscious does, because it is multidimensional and uses those extra hidden dimensions of space. Is it not the Yakuba? What's the... I mean, I would love to get into different areas for different lives and talk about them, because I've really enjoyed this almost meeting of minds, or meeting of subconscious this evening. Some of your comments have been wonderful. Just a couple of things. I did mention it at the beginning, but Oasis are getting back together again, which is wonderful. There's been talks of it for months and months and months and months. But remember, we did a live straight after Glastonbury saying how, without being disingenuous, shite it was. And I mean, Dua Lipa, really? As talented a singer as she is, and a lot of her songs have got bits from other songs in them. I mean, I know Oasis based everything on the Beatles and Slade, but they're doing London and Manchester gigs. They're going to headline Glastonbury. Can you imagine trying to get tickets for Glastonbury next year if Oasis are headlining? They literally could sell their tickets 1,000 times over and still sell out. And I know when we talked about which bands you would having, well, it was a question that I asked on one of the lives. Which band would you highlight or headline Glastonbury? Oasis was in there in some of the suggestions. I'll go back to your comments. And what's that? It's amazing that the current problem has united Protestants and Catholics in Ireland. I know, Jackie, I agree that the politicians, as an aside, watch out, because Starmer's gone. Starmer has gone, and he's a micromanager. But Ginger Growler's going to take over, and she's going to become Jacinda Ardern in the UK. You think Starmer's bad? Keep waiting. Taxi for Starmer. Exactly that, says Oasis. Poor man's Beatles. Yeah, but they've still got great songs. It's like Queen always... Queen always wanted to do the anthemic songs. And they did. They did them wonderfully. But... Whatever was one of the best Oasis songs. Sadly, it never got the credit it deserves. I just think Rio Dell says, we'll need to read up on this Oasis news. Have Liam and Noel really patched things up, or is there too much money on offer? entirely down to you, Ria, to decide. You know, if they're offering millions, yeah, just for a couple of gigs. But I just, after maybe they kind of put really weak headliners on, and I know that Coldplay played again, and I know that a certain band had to drop out, and Coldplay jumped in at the last second to save it. But Noel's divorce was a big factor. Interesting leads. Yeah, you might need the cash. 10cc. I'm not in love, man. But maybe this is the sort of injection of good old-fashioned rock and roll, baby, that Glastonbury needs, because it's kind of losing its way a little bit. Jules, my brother caught Liam Gallagher's tambourine at a concert. Oh, Jules D. Fabulous. I was going to ask a question about reforming bands, but I think we'll save that for Wednesday. But it's fantastic news. I think it's fantastic news for Glastonbury. I don't know whether you agree or not, but fantastic news. They're going to do London and Manchester gigs. So literally everybody's going to go and see them. And it don't matter whether it's... maybe they should do Nebworth for 4 nights again. Like 500,000 people. But I think there may be a tight window, and I think that'll be it. I think... near the end, one of them or both of the brothers are going to go, oh, here, Foxtrot Oscar. Yeah. You arse. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's the injection in the arm that Glastonbury needs. I think it's, you know my feelings about Taylor Swift. Can I just say this about Taylor Swift and the sad Southport events? She made my stomach turn. Taylor Swift. Why didn't she just do whatever she wanted to do and do it in the background? Do it without any headlines. Do it without having her PR get it into the press. Because that's just grubby. That's just self-serving, publicity-hungry, media hooer. No, absolutely. People died. And you're like, oh, well, we gave them some good... Sorry, her PR people or record company people. Well, we gave them some goodie bags and you know, they were all really excited to meet Taylor. I get that. Just do it privately. Do it away from publicity. Do it away from cameras. There were some wonderful athletes in the 80s who... literally were the most famous man. I'm trying to think of his name. Steve, 800 meter runner, 1500 meter runner. Kerry, I agree with you. And that's why George Michael was one of my favorite people. George Michael did so much to help people with no publicity. Amazing man. Yeah, you mean like when Garraway monetized Derek's death on Instagram? Talblock Tracy. Steve Ovett. Thank you, Terry Wookford. Steve Ovett, one of the most, Olympic champion, one of the most talented athletes this country's ever produced, one of the most famous men on the planet because he was a famous athlete. And he did so much work in the background. Steve Cram also, Peter Sadler. They did the stuff without any need for publicity. They weren't doing it for thanks. They were doing it because they wanted to. They did it because they wanted to do it for the people and how it would be received. Rusty Mouse, I did Steve Ovett's mortgage years ago. I thought he was in Australia. Is he back now? George Michael the same. R.I.P. Terry Hall. The specials should have headlined Glasgow. Nicholas, that's a great shout. That is a great shout. But I think there's some kind of the specials are. Is Jerry Dammer still in the specials? And Daley Thompson. I saw an interview with Daley the other day, or part of. And again, these men, they did so much charity work, and they did, going visiting kids in hospital. They did all of that without anything. They didn't ask for anything. They did it because it would benefit the person or people they were going to see, or the kids they were going to see. And yet Taylor Swift, it was all over the bloody press. No, stop that. Absolutely stop that. Your songs are shite for a kick-off. And Ed Sheeran. How on earth have we got to a situation in our society where only two people are seen as half-decent musical acts? No! No! Better singers, better songwriters. And we started this live tonight talking about John Lennon and Imagine being the best song ever written. Has Taylor Swift ever written a song that would match Imagine? Has Ed Sheeran ever written a song that would match Imagine? No. And I won't have anybody tell me otherwise. No. So I'm just glad that Taylor Swift has fecked off back to America and Canada to continue her multi-billion-dollar world tour. And Teflon Guan, Terry Hall, sad life story. But talented boy. It's all Ed Sheeran and Adele nowadays. Dreadful. I agree, Leeds. I agree. Taylor Swift, Adele and Ed Sheeran. Adele. Ozempic, anyone? Paul Heaton, there's a songwriter for you. And Dan Brooker says, couldn't tell you one song of Taylor Swift. Me neither. I mean, me bloody ears bleed when I hear it. It's just in my view. I'm allowed a personal opinion. But no. And what really turned me off and made me sick to the pit of my stomach was her using the poor bands that got killed in Southport and the survivors, giving them goodie bags. What the actual? No. As somebody says, and a couple of people have mentioned, George Michael. George Michael did so much for so many people and didn't want the publicity. That's a real human being. Lee says, I love Paul Heaton. What a lyrical genius he is. I completely agree. Gene Psychic says, it's sick, man. Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm just going to alert you to one little thing before we kind of wrap tonight's live up. And that is France. The French are funny. But you saw the farce of the Olympics, didn't you? I mean, I still can't get over the breakdancing. Reagan, as in Ray Gun. Is that a breakdancing name? PhD in breakdancing. Off. Honestly, what happens when I get angry is my vocabulary goes from quite extensive to virtually zero, and it's all Tourette's. It's all sweary Mary words. And this, I didn't watch any of the Olympics. The Reagan breakdancing is utter shite. But that's why the world's laughing at her. I don't know whether she gets this, but the world's laughing at her. And now France have detained a Russian billionaire. You know, the guy that's behind Telegram, because it's free speech. So France are very unhappy that somebody's actually promulgating free speech. So he flew into France somewhere. So they detained him. Who's the arbiter of law? Who decides that a Russian billionaire who doesn't even live in France and owns Telegram, and the French are like, no, we're going to arrest you? Oh, Sandra Witham says, think best song is Angels by Robbie Williams. Good song, great poetry, but is it Imagine? So the Russian billionaire was detained, owner of Telegram, but also what people are forgetting is that Rumble, which is also a free speech platform, they're not allowing the French to get access to that either. So the French are not going to get access to Rumble. The French are not going to get access to Telegram, and they've detained the guy that owns it. He just happens to be a Russian billionaire. Since when has France promoted free speech? Oasis made the two-finger foxtrot Oscar famous. So did the Agincourt archers. Because you know where that comes from, don't you? It was from Agincourt. So against the French, they lost. Poor French. They lose against the English every time because they're shite. even Napoleon. So that comes from Agincourt. And what happened was, if they caught an archer, they'd chop his bow fingers off, these two. So the archers used to wind the French up by just going... I mean, the words Foxtrot Oscar will have arrived somewhere down the line, but this was up yours to the French. I've still got these two. I'm still going to pull me bow. I'm going to kill some of your lads. Yeah, up yours. So the Agincourt salute was that. Paul Duncan says, Mike and the Mechanics, Living Years. Great song. Paul Carrick, great voice. And I interviewed, as I say, Mike Rutherford and Paul Carrick in some London hotel just after I'd lost my mobile phone in 1988. I mean, they weren't that common in 88. Lost it at King's Cross. Oh, gutted. So again, I walk into an interview, white as a sheet, going, I feel sick. And Mike Rutherford said, you okay? I was like, no, I've just lost my mobile phone at King's Cross. I put my mobile phone down on the ground to tie my shoelaces, and then ran out of King's Cross to grab a taxi, get a cab to get to the hotel, and my bloody mobile phone, me Oki mobile phone, still on the floor of King's Cross. Nicholas, you know music industry and how corrupt our very own Martin Stevenson and the Dainties should have smashed it, but the lad wouldn't comply for the sake of his art. I know, Martin Stevenson, great talent. His keyboardist, Mike, came on a skiing holiday with me to Austria a few years ago. I mean, talent is just insane. So I'll tell you on another life, because I literally could begin to tell you stories for hours. Brilliant, Hayden. Anyone lost a roll of £20 notes wrapped up in an elastic band? Good news is, I found the elastic band. So I want to talk about France, Glastonbury, and I think we'll talk about it on Wednesday. There's the German knife attack, and yet there's no details about the attacker. What's going on there then? Well, we know what's going on there, but we can't really talk about it on here because I'll end up inside Chokey for 6 years. Kirsty Allsop, a 15-year-old son, went into railing with a 16-year-old mate, and social services have got involved. What the actual? Here, Foxtrot Oscar, mate. I bet he had a brilliant time, wonderful time. Interrailing, it's one of those things that the kids do, the teenagers do, once they leave and senior school. But surely the parents should be parenting, and Kirsty Allsop was parenting her son, and the parents know their children better than social services. Honestly, so there's all kinds of stuff going on, and you need to watch out for EEE. It's Eastern Equine Encephalitis. I can't pronounce it. I'm too tired. But seemingly there's all this stuff going on in America. Civil war's coming to America. You know what's going to happen. Look, they're setting Kamala Harris up to win the presidential election. You know she's not going to win. You know they're going to fix it again. And that's why, White Lines, what a great song, Teflon. That's why they're setting it all up, because it looks like she could win. She can't. She can't. The people of America are going to vote Trump into power. So either... Well, I'm not going to tempt fate, but I told you, the Black Swan event that I predicted in December, October, November, December last year, still to come. It is still to come. When you've got Starmer the Harmer saying it's going to get worse. Wow, Terry. Well, we figured that would be the case. Roy Orbison during the Travelling Wilburys was younger than I am now. Martin, blimey. And so let me just tell you this. Keir Starmer, Sir Keir Starmer, two-tier Keir, he's saying, oh, don't blame us. Look, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really, really bad. But I've got £7.5 million in the bank. Why would I give a flying foxtrot what pains you? Because I don't care. I've got millions in the bank. I've told you before, Labour Party, rich people telling you that other rich people have made you poor. So now what is he saying? Oh, when it's the Tories, the Tories, 14 years of Tory rule, it's ruined this country, and you're going to make it worse. Caring, understanding 90s type. That's that man, and I told you for 18 months. Is he scaring you yet? Well, if he's not scaring you now, he's going to over the next 6 months before we get to 2025. So that's why we did a lighter live tonight, because I didn't want to kind of get into your ribs about stuff that's going on. Anyway, yeah, you're wrong. And we've got over 200 people watching this live and nobody's hit the likes. Jesus, I'm knocking my pipe out. You're wrong. So before you leave the body of the Kirk, make sure that all the Battenberg's gone, because you know the cleaners in the morning will kick off if you leave it in a mess. That's the sermon completed for another sermon on the Sunday. Be well, stay safe. Please smash the likes on your way out. Hopefully you've drank all of the altar wine, so we don't have to drag that away from the cleaners, because you know what, they get leery after they've had the altar wine. Oh yeah, things can only get worse, Sir Keir Starmer. And Starmer now wears cheap, thick plastic glasses these days. Cost about 200 notes from Specsavers. He used to wear 2,000 quid designer frames. But, and thank you, Kerry. Good night to you too. Starmer was contact lenses, I'm sure, before we get to the general election. And now after the general election, he's decided, it looks a bit like Joe 90 with a quiff. Oh, well, you know what they say. So who was the Labour cabinet minister that had an affair with another Labour cabinet minister? Oh, who would that be then? I've no idea. I'm not even going to speculate. It's like there was a Tory party MP who was on Question Time on a Thursday night. Then a story broke that there was somebody in the Tory party having their wicked way with a cabinet minister. And what can I say? She left and went to America. He stayed, and no, I can't name them, but I'm telling you, she was on Question Time on the Thursday night. It broke heavily on the Friday, and she was flying out on the Saturday with her political career behind her, going out to be with her hubby in America. There's clues there for you to find out, but I'm not telling you who the bloke was. Oink, oink. Anyway, my name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes. We've had it over 100. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for your subscriptions. Please make sure that you are subscribed. Another live coming Wednesday, 8 p.m. Remember, I'm on X. Please follow me there. I'm much more active there. I can say a lot more things on X that I can't say here. And be well and stay well. And I hope your families are the same. And I'll see you Wednesday, 8 o'clock, man.